we flushed out our 401ks and had a little bit of savings, and so we have enough to get us through about 9 months. Like, let's go. So I dove in both feet, got my real estate license, and didn't know a clue of what I was doing at all. And
nobody does.
No, nobody does. Nobody does.
What's going on, guys? Austin Zaback here with another episode of the Austin Zaback Show. Today we have a very special guest by the name of Alex Smith, and this is a dude that I'm just glad to have on here, man. I feel like we should have probably done this quite a while ago, and I feel like we were talking before the show. I'm like, man, how have we not met before? Like, how have we never done a deal? I feel like we have done a deal, but anyways, this dude is absolutely killing it. He's been married for a really long time. I can't wait to talk about relationships. He's got incredible kids. He's got an incredible business, flipping a bunch of houses, got a couple of spec builds going on right now. And man, I'm just excited to talk to you about, real estate and the market and how you got to where you're at and how you look as good as you look, so we'll just go ahead and jump on into it, man. I appreciate you being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. So, dude, I want to kind of dive into real estate first, and just kind of see where that takes us, and then we'll go from there. But you, we were talking before the show, so you are a real estate agent too, correct?
Yep. Yes.
And how long you been an agent?
Just over 8 years.
Okay.
So started in 2014. Yeah.
Dude, 1 year before me, man.
Oh, crazy.
I was 2015.
Crazy.
Yeah. So you became an agent, and why did you become an agent? Like, what was the motive?
So I worked construction for 14 years. I was actually working in Canada at the time in 2014, and I came home. My wife came to pick me up from the airport, and both of my boys had Big Brother T-shirts on, and I was like, "Oh my God, we're having another kid." And I was like, "I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
I'd travel. I'd go away for 3 to 4 weeks at a time, and come home for like 2, and it was just brutal family-wise. So. I was like, okay, I'm either going to start my own business, like a construction company, or I'm just going to go into real estate.
Yeah.
My mom's done real estate for a long time. My mother-in-law's done real estate for a long time. If they can do it, I can hack it.
For sure.
It'll be fun. So we flushed out our 401ks and had a little bit of savings, and said we have enough to get us through about 9 months. Like, let's go. So I dove in both feet, got my real estate license, and didn't know a clue of what I was doing at all. And
nobody does.
No, nobody does. Nobody does. Especially people that got in the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just dove in and, kind of moved my way through 3 brokerages in my first year, just trying to find the right fit, and landed with Brian North. And,
okay. You still with Brian today?
Actually just away from North Dakota.
I'm sure we'll talk about that.
A couple months ago. But Brian was a phenomenal mentor. Learned how to really go out and grind and get clients and open house it. Yeah. And built my business off open houses and investors. So, I do 6+ open houses a week and just sit there like it was my office and follow up.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Let's talk about that real quick while we're on the subject. I like that. Like I preach, I run a team. I've got 38, almost 40 agents on my team right now. And I always preach open houses, right? Dude. And like you say you built your whole business off open houses. Absolutely. Like, talk to me about that. Like, why did you, how did that come about? And do you believe that can you attribute, your success today or some of it from
100%.
that? Okay.
100%. I didn't have the dough to go out and buy leads. And I thought it was the best way to get clients that were already coming to you rather than going out and door knocking, say, or cold calling. So people are coming into the house. It's a pretty warm situation. So that was kind of just the way I felt it out. And then really just getting, the sales skills tutelage from Brian, and being able to step into that situation and feel confident at open houses. As long as you're able to capture people's information and follow up diligently, I think it's really hard to say there's a better way to gain clients once you build that rapport at the open house than that.
Dude, I agree, man. I preach it. I say, what other lead generation thing can you do where your client, walks through the front door
For sure.
to have a conversation with you, right? Like, you know, I mean, you don't get that anywhere else.
Nowhere
right?
else.
And for some reason, bro, people, real estate agents, nine out of 10 will neglect that lead generation technique, right?
Totally.
And why is that? Are they just lazy, or they don't know what they're doing, or they don't have the confidence? I mean, why, in your opinion?
All of them.
All of the above.
All those things.
Yeah.
Like, so my wife works with me. She is phenomenal open houses. Like, I thought I was good. She's a rock star, dude. And she's pulled so many clients. I would say 75% of her clients are pulled from open houses. The other 25 are referrals.
Wow.
Like, she's amazing.
Yep.
And that's just from her going in there, capturing the information, caring about the people that are in there, and then her follow-up is insane.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think that the best people at that, really at this entire job, right? But especially open houses, are people who are just likable, right?
Yeah, totally.
You just have a conversation with somebody, and man, I always preach, like, you don't even want to be a salesperson, right? I saw a video by Brad Lee. He's like, you're a help person, not a salesperson, right? Like, you're there to help people, man. And we preach that a lot. You know, hey, if you serve people and help people, you don't need to sell them.
Nope.
They're not. Look, they're either going to buy a house or they're not. You're not going to sell them on that, right?
Nope.
Like, you know, the best thing you could do is just help them. And I'm sure your
100%.
wife's incredible at that.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
awesome. So you started working with investors. Like, what happened there? You know, here you are, you're an agent, you're sitting open houses 6 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, from what I can understand, you know, you then started working with a bunch of investors who are flipping, doing all sorts of different stuff. And then that's what obviously led to what we'll talk about in a minute, which is what you do now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
It came from having a lack of clients. Like, I having a construction background, I was really a numbers person. I was able to look at things and go, if that's selling for this here and that's priced that low, it's still sitting on the market, why isn't that a good deal to go after and renovate or tear down and build? So I started taking stuff to investors that I had met at open houses, and they'd be like, tell me how this deal works. And I'm like, tell me how it doesn't work.
Right.
And they'd walk me through, and I'd sit there with my notepad on the phone, like jotting down. And I'm like, okay, if he's building at this and he can renovate at this number, those are the numbers I need to back into. So, and then I've got to leave this profit margin. So I failed my way forward to just figuring it out. And the guys that I would have the conversations with, that I literally went into not having a clue what I was talking about. I got to the point where I'd keep just reaching out, and I finally hit on one. And I'd be like, okay, now I know the formula that works.
Yeah.
And then I would go out and knock on doors with dumpsters and find that investor's information. And lo and behold, as soon as you have a number of investors and you find an opportunity, you have 10 people to take one house to, rather than, you know, your one client that you're searching MLS for constantly and praying to God they're going to buy a house.
For sure.
So that was really it.
Investors are ultimately the people you want to work with. You know, I mean, like, there's a lot of phenomenal people out there you can work with, right? But like investors, you know, the beautiful thing is, like you say, is that I always said back in the day, I'm like, man, like an average buyer or seller is going to buy or sell every 7 years.
Yeah.
An investor, if they're making money, you know, I can sell them a house every 90 days, right?
Totally.
Like,
Absolutely,
you know, like this is
man.
where I want to be, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I love what you're saying there, man. And I think what's really cool about what you did is that you started working with them, but really you were learning the game.
100%.
Like here you are, you're just taking notes. You're like, man, I'm here to learn the game, right? So like what did that process look like of you learning that game, right? Did you start like really making friends with these dudes, and you're like, man, like go check out the projects? Like, how did you integrate
100%.
yourself into that world?
Yeah. Dude, I was so hands-on to a like gross extent that I like was neglecting the fact that I wasn't getting paid for that, right? Which now I take into major consideration how much I'm putting into something. But I think it was all part of my journey and part of my learning, right? I didn't come from home building, so I still had a lot to learn on that side of things. I have a good understanding of construction, so I got the process, but I didn't get everything from the permitting process and everything that had to do with the home itself. So, just walking through those, the client consistently seeing me there was always a good thing. And then, really just understanding the area I was working in. It was mostly Arcadia centric, Old Town, diving into
and that's
macro.
the same area you were holding the open houses too, right?
Yeah.
So like you're in this area.
100%.
Okay.
Dude. Yeah, 100%. Yep. Yeah. The one-off opportunity that I would have to like go hold something open in like North Scottsdale or something if I didn't have something in the hood. And I hated it too because I didn't know it like I knew Arcadia. Right. And when I started working in Arcadia, I was living in Gilbert. I was like, dude, if I'm going to do real estate, I don't want to sell tract homes.
Yep.
Like this is what I want to sell.
For sure.
Babe, we got to move to Arcadia. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready. Well, we're moving.
Yeah.
That didn't work out well. But, we ended up moving to Arcadia about 10 months into me being in real estate. Okay. And it was uber beneficial to be there, live there, and like really soak in what the area you're working in.
Oh, I believe that 1,000,000%. Yeah, I think you got to immerse yourself, man. Like, 100%. And I think especially for people watching or listening that might be new to real estate, like I talk the talk, walk the walk, right? Yeah. Like how can you I told one of my agents not very long ago, he moved here from Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'd spend 2-3 hours a day just driving around, right? Dude. Like just get whatever you got to do, ride your bike, like I want you to go through every neighborhood. I want you to open up every gate. Like I want you to schedule showings in gated communities, and I want you to type in the gate code.
Yeah.
And just drive, right? Yeah. And just go in there and look at the house, and then just walk out, right? Yep. Like, and and really just start to understand, like, where's the Starbucks? Where's the Burger King? Like, where, you know what I mean?
Know all your spots.
Yeah, yeah.
I literally, I pull up Monsoon at night, and for hours on hours, I would stare at the map. And I'd look at comps, and I'd look at solds, and I'd memorize the streets one after another so that I actually knew the area that I was talking about while I didn't know it at all, right? But I just became a student of Arcadia, and that's how I really broke in and actually, like, really kind of faked it until I made it.
For sure, yeah, and that's what. That's one of the many things that allowed you to get to where you're at today, right?
Yeah, naive confidence.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'm all for that, right? Like the fake it till you make it. Like when you're just getting going, man. Like you gotta know the information, right?
Totally.
And if you don't know the information, then it's like, well, how do I fast track my way to knowing the information, right? Like how do I at least how can I recite this information, right? Yeah. Until I actually really know it, right?
Totally.
And it's like, well, there's really one way to do that. It's bury your head in Monsoon, right? Mm-hmm. Drive around, move to the community. Like, it's just taking the action, right?
Yeah.
So here you are taking the action, and then one thing leads to the next. So how many houses would you say, because you've done some big numbers, right? And you did, I believe, just shy of 60 million in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay,
just me and Leslie.
Right. Yeah. So that look, I mean, that's no joke. Those are real deal numbers, right? So like, at what point, and that's while being married and having a family and having dogs and the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's just residential resale, right? That's not flips and stuff. I mean, or at least you might have some flips in there, but we're not talking about the profitability from the flip, right? So like. At what point did you decide you were going to start flipping? Like, you're like, okay, I've seen this done enough times. I've helped enough investors. Like, when did you do your first ever flip?
Just pre-pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was that flip at?
In Old Town.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right by Arcadia.
Yep.
Ring, ding, ding, ding. Yeah. I love that.
The biggest thing for me was like capital infusion. Right. And understanding how to really like structure a deal. That was my biggest thing is like, okay, how can I use other people's money to make this work for me?
Yeah.
And I have a really good buddy in Seattle that was like, dude, that's how I made all my money. Like, let me show you. And I'm like, God, show me the playbook.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was like, you get guys to do that? He's like, yeah,
all day long,
all the time. And I was like, okay. So I went and found a deal and I brought it to him and he was like, let's go. Like,
You're like,
that's easy.
yeah.
Okay. So, so yeah, that was really it. And then you do one, and then it's like, okay, how many can I take at once?
For sure. What was your like mentally prior to that deal? For somebody watching, like, and for me, for anybody, what was the barrier? Would you say like prior? Because I know that I was talking to some dude the other day about wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that was stopping him was literally the logistics of it. Like he understood wholesaling. It was the craziest thing. He's like, dude, I get it. Like I understand the entire thing. I know exactly what that is, right? He's like, but when it comes time to do it, like he's like, what document do I like? Where like what does that look like, right? And I could tell that what was holding him back was like the logistics of it, right? Like the document, the freaking the thing itself. And for you, I hear you say like, raising the capital, right? The capital infusion.
Yeah.
Like, what was the barrier at that point? Because you called his buddy, right? And he's like, dude, like, So how did you bridge that gap? Like, what happened there?
Confidence, honestly. Just like putting my own balls on the line rather than somebody else's. And going, this is a deal. Like I need to do this deal. And even then writing the offer is step number one.
Yep.
And you write it and get it accepted, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this deal.
Yeah.
Like, crap.
And
it's real.
And like, I got to get the money for the like. It's
yeah. So then in the inspection period, I had to get the capital, and I did.
And what did that look like?
Difficult.
Making the phone calls.
Making one phone call.
Wow.
That was it.
Okay.
And the deal made a ton of sense, and so like absolutely.
So the saying of get the deal, the money follows.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
100% true. Yeah. If you have the deal, the money will find it.
Always.
For sure.
Any deal.
Love it. Anything.
Yep.
And you have some investors that are looking for slimmer margins, and some want a home run, and
for sure,
you got to know who to go to for what deal.
And you got investors that'll buy deals, and it could be a single family. You got investors that want multifamily.
Yep.
You got investors that'll do a storage deal with you.
Yep.
You just got to find the right guy.
You got it.
Right.
100%.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved it. So what I'm hearing, and I like picking your brain, right? Because I want people to hear, and I need to hear is just it always comes back to taking the action.
Yeah.
Right. Like we get in our own way as human beings, and you got in your own way at one point. But then you wake up one day and you're like, dude, I'm going to take the action.
Yeah.
You went, you found the deal.
Yeah.
Right? And then you found the money. And it was as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when you did that deal, now you're like, wow. Like, then you really, because I'm the dude where it's like, if I could do something one time, like you said a minute ago, it's like, dude, I could do this 100 times.
Exactly.
I could do it 1,000 times.
How many can I do at once?
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
So you did this deal. Do you remember by any chance the numbers on that deal?
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Did you made money on the deal?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The guy, you paid back the investor. Yeah. Awesome. So you make money on the deal. And then, and do you remember picking up your second deal?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. So, a lot of deals through 2020, I flipped out of because I just got killer, like I had some killer deals brought to me.
Yep.
And
when you say flipped out of, you mean
wholesale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we did really well on. I only did 7 wholesale deals in 2020.
Yep. I
think we cleared over 300K.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So,
dude, I'd go back to 2020 if I could.
I would go back smarter.
Right.
That's for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I'd buy a lot more real estate.
A lot more.
Yeah.
I would buy more and would have held a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So you wholesaled some, and had you ever wholesaled anything before then?
Yes,
okay.
I had, but like one or two a year.
Yeah.
Like it was again that fear, right? Yep. I think for me, I had to do a ton of internal work that happened when I did 75 hard the first time, and when I did that, it like everything clicked.
Yeah.
A lot of the fear went away just because a lot of the stuff that I had been telling myself, I got myself out of. And so that changed a ton for me from mindset, position, and just getting to the point where I was like, okay, if I ever want to really get somewhere, I got to do this on my own.
I love that.
On my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. I think that the mind is really the only thing. Like, if you don't have control over your mind, you can't do a whole lot in life, right?
Absolutely not.
Your body's just going to control your mind, not the other way around.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to be a zombie through life, right?
Yep.
So getting control of the mind, I love that. So you did 75 hard.
Yeah.
How was that? I know we're shifting gears a little bit, but how was the 75 hard for you? Like what did that do to your business and to financially? Because I think people, they see fitness, they see the muscles, they see the gym, and they don't understand that it all correlates, right? It's like, okay, but hold on a second. Like, you want to make more money, get in better shape, right? You want to make more money, get better relationships. Like, you know, go to church, like go to Joe Dispenza, do something, right?
Yeah.
So how did that correlate for you, and when was it that you made the decision to do that?
So lots of breakdowns and breakthroughs. May 4th, 2019 was the first time I started it. So just had like 2 big nights in a row of like a golf outing and then a Cinco de Mayo party. And I had been thinking about doing it for like 30 days. And I woke up on Sunday and I was like, okay, today's the day. Like,
wow.
I'm starting. And so I started that day, and there was no quitting for me. Like once I got into it, like about day 10, I started the breakdowns, like internally breaking down.
Yeah.
Like I had less stuff to deal with internally, and you know, my relationship with God and my family and my wife and everything grew a lot closer. And dude, I had a lot. Dude, I was in tears like almost every day, just dealing with the emotion of like, I was always I'd do stuff to 80% guy, and I broke through that and proved to myself that I could fully do something and get through something, and with that came I can do anything.
Wow.
Right?
That's powerful.
I had so much confidence after that. And so through that, our business grew from, we did like 12 million in the 2019. Okay. So halfway through 2019, I start 75 hard. We were struggling in business because my focus wasn't there. And 2020, we did 38.8 million.
Wow. Huge jump. 3 times.
Huge jump. Yeah. So 330% jump. And then we just kept that focus and increased another 50%.
And you did another 75 hard again at some point.
So
right?
I actually did 75 hard. 3 weeks later, my wife wanted to start it. So I supported her by doing it with her.
So you got off 75 hard.
Yeah.
You got 21 days of like...
Not even. I think it was like 17 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
17 days of kind of sort of living a normal life, right? Or like quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then you're back to 75 hard.
Yeah. So for like 6 months, I did 2 workouts a day, no drinking.
Wow.
Sticking to my diet, all the good stuff. Yeah.
And how did you do that during, so like, because I really want to drive this home, right? Here you are, you're doing, so basically 6 full months almost of no drinking.
Yeah.
75 hard, for people who don't know, is 2 workouts a day, one indoor, 1 outdoor. It's a gallon of water a day.
Yep.
You got to read 10 pages of a book a day, right? Meanwhile, you went from 12 million in sales to 36 million in sales. So you tripled, right?
Yeah.
While having a family and the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Okay, that a lot of people can't go from 12 to 36 in a year not doing 75, right? Like, and not doing all the other stuff. So like, how was it? Just sheer efficiency? I mean, like, what did give me a picture, a glimpse into like what that looked like? Was it just like, I mean,
it was go man, 100%. Like, if it didn't have to do with work or my family, it wasn't happening. Plain and simple. We were just running hard. Yeah. And that was really it. We weren't uber efficient. Like, I didn't even have an assistant at the time.
Wow.
Like, I was doing everything. So I was probably doing everything at a B level because I wasn't able to be as efficient as possible. But it worked for us at the time. So, we were just cranking.
Which is cool to hear. I think it's cool for people to hear, right? Like, hey, it's just like, if you just commit, you'll figure it out.
That's it.
Like, and then you can evolve, right? Because I'm sure now you've evolved, so you learn from that, and now you probably have more help, and you've delegated certain things, I'm sure, right? and we'll talk about that. But man, it's just like commit now and figure the rest out later.
Totally.
Right?
Like just go. You can only make up so much of a plan. At some point, you just have to start doing the work. So I just started doing the work. And then through a lot of journaling, like I'd get up before I go and do my workout, and I would get up and I would journal for 20 minutes.
Wow.
And that was where I think of a lot of my clarity for my path came from. I kept writing down the number 40 million, 40 million, 40
Wow.
million, 40 million. And we came just shy of it,
Wow.
38.8. And that clarity came through the writing and came through the consistency of looking at my goals, writing them down, and knowing what we were trying to achieve. And I didn't even really like, we did 3.5 or 3.8 in our first month in January. And I was like, we can keep this pace. Why can't we keep this pace? Like, dude, throw everything out the window. We're doing 40 this year.
Yeah.
Because I had a goal of 24. I was going to double our business, which would have been awesome. But once you do it in 1 month, you're like, this is so attainable. Why can't we continue to do this? So I just put the mark out there, and we ended up just like coming up just shy.
Yeah.
But you have to stretch yourself in order to actually hit the goals.
And you got to believe it.
Oh, totally.
Right? Like you were the dude that you believed it.
Yeah.
Like you were journaling at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever time you're sitting there, like you believed it.
Yeah,
right.
man.
And I think that's sometimes people don't wrap their brain around that. Right. It's like, no, you got to believe that you can do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you don't believe, it ain't going to happen. Like you could take all the action in the world. If you don't believe you can do it,
Totally.
Because some people will commit to a goal, kind of, right? They're like, well, I think I can do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, then you're not going to do it.
Nope. No
right?
way.
So I love that, man.
Full commitment, man.
Yeah. And dude, it's so simple, but it's so people just have to. You really got to understand, like, hey, it's simple. It ain't easy, but it is simple.
So simple. It's not easy at all, but it's not hard either.
Right.
It's just work.
Yeah.
Like, if you can handle work, then you can do it.
1,000,000%, man. So talk to me about the flipping a little bit. I want to go back there for a second.
Yeah.
So, flipping is something that I think a lot of people want to do, right? You see, dude, I talk to people all day long from LA to Miami to everywhere, right? Like you got people they watch HGTV, they watch Flip or Flop, they watch Love It or List It. Like it's kind of an American thing, I feel like. Like, people watch these shows and they're like, oh man, like I'd love to flip, or they even want to flip their own house or whatever. And I see very few people ever do it, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the amount of people who would like to do it or want to do it. And I think a lot of it is like the nitty gritty of it. Like how do I find the subcontractors? Like, how do I know how much stuff costs? Like, what does all that look like? Right. Like, what did you do when obviously you repped these investors?
Yeah.
So you learned a lot there, right?
Yeah.
But did you have any failures? Like, what did that, like, you're out looking for project managers. You're trying to find the dude that'll do your roof guy, your AC guy, your drywall guy. Like, how did you talk to me a little bit about the logistics of it?
So we don't flip it like big scale.
Okay.
We take on bigger projects. So most everything we've done is, in the luxury space. So I think that was probably one of my biggest things is like, how am I going to take on a $1.5 million buy and flip this thing? But
mentally.
Yeah. So for us, it's different because we're doing more of the luxury scale. We're not buying. We're not doing your entry level renovation, throwing 30 grand in and looking for slim profits. It's on a bigger scale.
Cool.
So, I would say our biggest challenge really has been GCs and timelines, and that's budgets, of course. Now,
for sure.
I mean, over the last 2 years,
Oh yeah,
budgets have
all
broken some projects, but thank God for rising home prices too.
Yeah.
And now we're in the back cycle of that, and so it's interesting to see what will happen over the next 6 months. But
now you got to buy them deeper.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think that's where we're headed now.
I think there's a ton of opportunity coming in the next 6 months, dude.
I think it might already be knocking on the front door.
I think it is.
I mean, we're starting to see it at least, right? I think you'll see it more and more, like you said, over the next 6 months.
For sure.
But I mean, dude, we're seeing. I mean, we got a deal last week off the MLS.
Yeah.
It was on there for 15 days,
Yeah.
right? Listed for 530 or something like that. Got it for 490.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, we underwrote it wrong, right? Like we went back and we were like, we need a 100K price drop, right? 100K. 15 days on market, they took it. They're
Whoa.
like 390.
Bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, we'll take it, done deal, right? So you're seeing that now, right?
Yeah.
Like 4 months ago, you wouldn't see. They would call, that agent would have called us,
Yeah.
and they would have said, you're out of your freaking mind.
I
Right?
saw 1.4 on MLS that just got shot out wholesale. That was on the market for like 27 days for like $1.05 million.
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
300 grand, just
And
like
it was
that.
still really like, I should probably get that for under $1 million for sure.
Yeah.
Just to temper myself from
Sure.
what could be the market in the next 6 months.
And probably will be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about now, is just buying them deeper, you know?
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about that. Let's elaborate on that a little bit. Here you are, you flipped a bunch, you did the bigger luxury stuff,
Yep.
you know, and now we're going into a new market, right?
Yeah.
What is your game plan? Like what are you kind of thinking at this moment that you're planning on putting your energy towards? Is it going to be more just, I mean, you did 59 million, right, in retail.
Mhm.
You want to keep growing that, or do you want to do more flipping going into this new market? Like, where do you see the opportunity?
So we're going to continue to grow our team, for sure. And so we see opportunity there. I see a ton of opportunity in the rental space. So we have one 12-unit townhome project that we're doing for sale at 9th Ave in Roosevelt. If you have buyers, Center 8, it's an awesome product.
Yeah.
We have another 12 units that are going in just adjacent to that. They're going to be built for rent. And then we have another one at 10th of Pasadena that's going to be built for rent, another one in Mesa that's going to be built for rent, and Tempe as well. So our long-term plan is to continue to find sites that we can entitle, rezone, and build for rent and hold them for 5 to 7 years or legacy possibly, and build that portfolio. So we have a large amount of doors.
Yeah.
And then also continue to renovate and build specs in more of the luxury space. So we do most of our stuff throughout Arcadia, Cactus Shea Corridor, and up Pima Scottsdale. So we'll continue to find opportunities there.
Yeah.
I really like the renovation space in those markets for the luxury product. So we'll keep going down the renovation path and build specs when the opportunity presents itself. But
Just get a better deal.
You got it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep.
So now, do you have what does that structure look like now? Like, have you brought on like a full-time GC, or like what does that look like?
We're still scaling, man.
Okay.
We are. So currently on our team we have Kyle, who does all of our videography and photography, and Eden. They just got married yesterday.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she handles all of our social media. So they work in tandem together.
Cool.
And then we just brought on Dylan, who is a sales agent, and Laura's our assistant. And then it's me and Leslie.
That's awesome.
Kind of at the top, 10,000-foot view. But Leslie's hands-on sales. I'm kind of trying to manage the entire thing. So, but we're actively looking for a project coordinator for our projects and more sales agents and the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
So trying to grow all of it at once.
Scaling's a fun thing.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah, I've failed my way forward a lot of times.
Mhm.
You know, I've
Yep.
hired and fired probably over 1,000 people. In the last, for sure, over 1,000 people in the last probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, so. Man, and I still don't think I have it figured out. You know, we're getting there one day at a time. But yeah, it's a fun thing. So I want to talk to you about that a little bit too. So you said a little while ago you moved to Retsy.
Yeah.
Which is Josh Stately? Is that Retsy?
Josh moved on.
He moved on. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
So Chris Morrison
Okay.
started Retsy, and it's just tech forward,
Yeah.
luxury focused.
Yeah.
They've got the Forbes brand there, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
huge for anybody that that recognizes luxury. Forbes is definitely a recognizable brand.
For sure.
So that's very helpful. And they've got a great team over there. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
It's been a
awesome.
really good move.
What brokerages, just out of curiosity, were you at before North & Co?
Oh, dude, quick stint at Berkshire Hathaway.
Okay.
And then quick before that at small brokerage in North Scottsdale,
Okay.
Dominic and Co.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't heard of Dominic & Co.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been with a couple different brokerages too. So I want to pivot a little bit actually and talk about your relationship and how that ties into everything,
Yeah,
right? I think
absolutely.
a lot of people, including myself, have gotten that wrong or still continue to get it wrong.
Yeah.
15 years, right? 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Married 15.
Married
Together 18 plus.
Okay, love that. And you guys work together,
Yeah.
right? Which is another thing
Yeah.
that a lot of people can't seem to
Yeah.
figure out. So you combine, the 15 years, 18 together, and then you guys are working together. You're doing stuff together.
Yeah.
You've got 3 kids.
3 kids.
3 kids. Man, like, give us some advice. Like, what do you, what do you guys do to stay on the same page? I mean, are you guys doing meetings? Do you sit down like on Sunday night and say, hey, like, here's, walk me through like some different things you've done over the years to
It's
stay.
business pillow talk, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dude, it's find somebody that you really enjoy spending time with and like truly love, and you can be with them all the time. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And not everybody finds that. So super fortunate to be married to my best friend and business partner. She's incredible. She works as hard, if not harder than I do. So it's super admirable. But dude, we don't have any one like,
Yeah.
there's no one way I could say that we do things. Like, we don't sit down on Sundays and go through our plan for the week. It's like day by day.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for us is like continuing to go to and be at our kids' stuff in the evening, afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Cutting out at 4:30 every day to get to my son to club baseball or to go coach football practice and have those commitments 5 days a week. It's tough. But we do it because it's like, there's nothing more important at the end of the day than our family, right?
Sure.
So we got to make those sacrifices and commitments. So we have a finite amount of time to do our work in. So when we're doing work, we got to really put the work in.
Yep.
So it's an everyday grind, man.
Yeah, for sure. How do you resolve conflict in the relationship? Like, I like getting into the nitty gritty, right?
Yeah.
Because people watching and listening, when I started a podcast, I'm like, man, I want to talk about things that people don't talk about.
For
right?
sure, yeah.
I want to, because when I watch podcasts,
Yeah.
I read between the lines. I'm like,
Totally.
dude, I want to learn
Yeah.
how to do the things that nobody's talking
Yeah.
about, right? So like, I mean, straight up, right? Like, we're human.
Yeah.
15 years
Yeah.
married, right? You run multiple businesses.
Yeah.
There's got to be some conflict, right? What does that look like? I mean, you said you married your best friend,
Yeah.
which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to help a lot with the conflict.
Yeah.
But I mean, what else? Like, what does that look like? Because when you work together,
Yeah.
it's not like, hey, like, let's just spend some time apart.
No.
Right.
No, there's
Like,
none of that.
We'll see you tonight. Tell me about your day. It's like, you gotta wear a different hat now.
Yeah.
You gotta go from, okay, we just maybe disagreed on something.
Yeah.
Maybe we can't even, or don't even have time to fix that right now.
Yeah.
And now we gotta go and we got our project manager yelling at us, or we got our agent, or this deal's going south, or whatever. Now we gotta talk about it.
Yep.
Like, just give me a little glimpse of what that looks like.
Dude, sometimes it's literally just that. Like, we don't have time to talk about this. Like, we'll get through it. It's a lot of one of us has to just give in at some point, right? And my wife has learned really well how to give in because I'm pretty hard-headed, and she will just and give in, and then we'll have a talk about it later.
Yeah.
But dude, it's depends on what the situation is,
sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But you figure out how to get through it after you've been together for this long.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's nothing that's, you know, your everyday problem probably isn't that big of a problem. You're going to work through it. So don't make a huge deal out of it. Like, treat a 2 as a 2, treat a 10 as a 10, right? If you've got a huge problem, obviously you've got to attack it right away. If it's a small problem, leave it as a small problem.
Yeah.
Don't make huge deals out of small issues.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So often we make the littlest thing a big thing.
Yes.
Right? And everybody does it. We're all guilty of it. But being cognizant of that and being aware of that,
Yeah.
I think in real time,
For sure.
like a huge difference
Yeah.
in how you can just move about the day.
Absolutely.
And be like, okay, hold on. Like, what are we even arguing about?
Yeah.
Like, what are we
Yep.
talking about here? Like,
Yeah.
let's keep on keeping on.
Totally.
Right?
But it
I love
hasn't been that way forever. Like,
Mhm.
we used to battle hardcore, and we've both had to grow, right? A lot of that growth came through like 75 hard,
Yeah.
like just figuring out my own issues and toning back on things like drinking and
Yeah.
stuff that sets off your anxiety, which makes you more heightened, which
Yeah.
makes the arguments worse. Like that stuff is real.
Yeah.
Really, really real.
It is. It's very real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I want to do 75 hard again. I've done it like 1.5 times, and
So you've done it one time.
I've done it like one time perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other time
I failed twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I failed once.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, after the first time doing it like on the money.
Yeah.
Right. Like I didn't even make the slightest of
Yeah.
error, you know. But that first time changed me.
Yeah.
Like
it does.
Because what it does, it shows you, like you say, it teaches you so much about yourself, right? And here we are talking about relationships and
Yeah.
how it affected you in that area, and how it affected you in business, and
Yeah.
how it affected you. Because what it really does is it shows you that, like, man, you could do anything you put your mind to.
Dude, it shows you how capable you are.
Mhm.
And then when you start like unraveling it at the end, and you're like, you start falling into some of those old habits.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't do that. Like, that's not me. That's not who I am anymore. So
Mhm.
it really, like, it's really hard after 75 hard, because then once you've gone there and you know what you can be,
Yeah.
you want to stay there. So every time you start making those steps backwards, you beat yourself up pretty bad. So
100%.
yeah,
Yeah. You get real disciplined real quick.
Yeah, you do.
know what I mean?
for sure.
A couple more things I want to talk about. One thing is, you guys crush it on social media.
Yeah.
You and your wife.
Yeah,
It's
thank you.
and I love what you guys do. Right.
Thanks.
What, like, how much real estate, like how much business has come from you dominating social media like that, and like really putting an emphasis on social media? Have you done a lot of deals as a result of that in a roundabout way?
Roundabout, maybe.
Yeah.
No direct, not one direct that I can be
Like in your DMs,
this,
they're like,
this
"I wanna-"
person hit
Yeah.
us up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But you're out there now though, right?
for sure.
Like we're here today,
eyes, right?
probably because, I mean, in one way or another, we're both big on social media.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't think we'd be here if we weren't, right?
Totally.
So like, is it worth it?
100%.
Okay.
Because I think we're in such an infancy still, right? I think we have so much room to grow. And dude, like, people can say what they want about social media, but like, if you're using it as a tool
Yeah.
the right way, like, I don't know that there's a better way to advertise yourself anymore than on social media. So
It's
we have
credibility.
a
man.
huge growth plan.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What does that look like for you in the future? Because you guys are doing short form content.
Yep.
You're doing a lot of cool things, I think, that maybe a lot of people aren't doing.
Yeah.
And I love to see that. And you said a minute ago you've got 2 people that are helping with that,
Yep,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So what does that trajectory look like now? Because you document a lot of your projects and stuff, and it's really cool. And I love how you and your wife do it together too.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. It's really unique, right?
Yeah.
And the branding around it's cool. So like, what's the goal?
Get into more YouTube shorts. We're starting our own podcast. Continue hitting content at a high level.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't even have an end goal yet, really. It's just continue to grow.
Yep.
Continue to grow. I have a serious want to do some coaching.
Yeah.
Because I and Milet always says, like, you are the person you used to be is the person that you can help the most, right? So, you know, the people who are going through the same struggles that I was going through, I want to help those people get to their best and greatest self, right? So I'd like to do some of that. And, you know, that goes through social as well. So just more growth, more businesses. We've got a couple of other business ideas that we'll be launching soon. So
Can you share anything about it?
Not yet.
Okay, all right.
Yet.
I'll ask again next time.
Like maybe 2-3 months.
I have to ask.
Yeah, of course.
I have
of course.
to do it.
Yeah.
Well, when we turn this whole thing off, then maybe you can tell me. Okay.
I will.
Dude, I love that, man. I think it's so valuable. You will do coaching. I know that. I can feel that. I want to do more coaching. I've done a lot of coaching over the years, and then I'll like pause it. I'll like do it, and then I pause it, and then I do it, and then I pause it. I want to get better at that. You know, coaching is such a weird thing, right? Because it's like there's a million ways you can do it. It's like I could do a Zoom call once a week. I could do a mastermind. I could do a Zoom call every day. You could call me for an hour or a month. Like it's like what? It's like. I could make a course. I could, you know,
some evergreen course.
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out like what I want to do again. You know, I've done a lot of it, but I don't know, man. I think that there might even be some stuff we could even collaborate on together. So
for sure.
Who knows? You know, I love that, dude. So I know we're kind of getting a little long here. What are a couple of the things, man, that you've learned throughout your life, gotten you to where you're at, that maybe, like Ed Milet says, like you didn't know back then? It could be about anything. Like.
Sure.
I mean, 75 hard's obviously a big one.
Huge,
right?
Huge. For anybody who hasn't done it, that's heard about it, is on the fence, like, oh, maybe I'd try that. Like, don't ever go into it with the mentality of maybe I'd try that, because you'll never finish it.
That's
you got to go at it like ready to attack and go in full force. Yeah. So, but if your mind's there and you're like, maybe I'll try, that means today's the day. You just got to commit, right? And if you really want to find yourself and what you're capable of and what you can do, I don't think that there's a better thing out there right now for anyone to do than that.
Yep.
So through that and constant prayer for me, and you know, that's really gotten me to where I've gotten, and a absolutely supportive wife and family. But for anybody who's like younger, either in the industry or not in the industry, figure out what you're good at, what your passion is. Do something like 75 hard to get yourself in the right mindset and just go.
I love that.
Just do. Like, you'll figure it out at some point through a lot of failures, and you don't fail until you quit. So just keep going, keep going, keep going, hit a wall, keep going again, run your head through the wall, just keep working.
Yeah.
Period.
Boom. What would you say for, and this will be, I'll wrap it up here. If you're a real estate agent going into 2023, what would your advice be? Maybe somebody's watching or listening, they're a new agent, or maybe they've been an agent, but things are changing, right? Like, what are a couple things they should be doing to succeed as an agent in moving forward? If
you're a new agent, not doing a lot of business, find a team with a really good structure, with a really good lead trainer, whatever, to truly mentor you so that you can succeed. Yep. Being out there on your own right now, not a good idea. You're likely going to fail. Yeah. There's going to be 2% of the people that don't fail in that boat. But dude, that would be my biggest.
I totally agree.
The biggest thing for me, that mentor, network,
open houses,
those two things. Yeah. Open houses. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on MLS, so there's plenty of open houses to do. But I would be out there every day doing an open house, 4 hours a day, just set up shop and
talking to people.
Dude, talk to TTP.
Brent
Daniels, man.
Yeah.
TTP.
Keep it simple.
Absolutely. That's it, man. Just talk to people, gather their info, reach out to them, follow up. Be really good at follow up. If you're not going to do follow-up, don't do an open house. Don't do anything. Go sit on your ass at home. Yeah. Like, you might as well do something you enjoy rather than doing an open house if you're not going to follow up, because you're just burned everybody's time.
Yep. Yeah, why go get a bunch of people's information, have a bunch of phenomenal conversations, and then never call them again?
Or call them once.
Right.
And be like, oh, they said that they might be interested. I'll call them in a year.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, look, if I call you and I'm like, hey, Alex, let's go get a beer next Thursday, and you tell me next Thursday doesn't work, I don't just never call you again.
Nope.
I call you the following Thursday, and I'm like, you ready to get a beer yet or what, right?
Exactly.
Like, you know.
Totally.
And I don't know where the disconnect is sometimes. I'm like, dude, like, come on.
It's crazy.
Like, are you scared? Like, what's the real issue?
I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
People are scared. Like, it's the 100-pound phone, right?
Yeah.
Scared to pick it up. Well, if you're scared to pick it up, then shoot them a text.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
I got a ton of clients from shooting out texts and just being just borderline obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, being myself through text, and then the next day being like, hey, I didn't see you responded.
Yeah.
What's going on? What is your thoughts? Still no response. Hey, just checking in again. Yeah. Like, dude, you got to just go. What are you afraid of? What's going to happen? They're going to say no. Yeah. Don't call me again. That's great. When you're ready in 6 months, can I call you? Like, sure. Yeah. Awesome. Set a note to call him in 6 months.
I love
it's
that.
It's easy.
It really is, dude. It's not hard.
No, it's
like
really
people
not.
just don't want to do it. You know,
people don't want to do it.
It's as simple as that.
Period.
Yeah, I love that, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being here, man. Where can people find you on? What's the best platform? How can people reach out? They want to do a deal with you, buy a house from you, flip a house with you. Where do they find you?
You can reach out to me on Instagram at @thealexsmith. Or Spouses That Sell Houses AZ.
I like that one.
Yes.
I just love the way that sounds.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean? That's what I've been talking about this whole time with content, you know. I love that one.
Awesome.
I love it. And I'll put all your information down below
Awesome.
as well.
Thanks.
So dude, any final thoughts for everybody, or are you pretty much good to sign off?
No, man, I'm good. This has been great. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, just continue to go out there, be your best, and kill it.
I love that. Well, guys, if you're still watching to the very end, we appreciate you for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Drop a comment down below. Make sure you go follow Alex. He's an absolute rock star. If you're on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, make sure you leave a 5-star review. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.